It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Mr. Sudhir Sharma, the Head of Talent Acquisition at the Adani Group.
What I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about what I've experienced in my life. I don't know whether it's going to be help you. Somebody might think that am I going to talk about everywhere in terms of how do we bring in more efficiency, how do we bring in more data to take the right decision, how do we really want to make sure that we eliminate the feeling of gut feeling that okay, I feel this might happen or this might work or this might not work. We don't need that job. There was a glamorous job of research analyst who used to talk about that which sector we should invest, which sector we should put the money in. And I am Calcutta, and the gentleman said I want to be I want to be a managerial role. I said what does that mean? Because there's nothing called managerial role anymore in the world. Because those are more glorified admin kind of job which nobody wants in the organization right now. You are already set for the success. Don't run outside and try to gain more certification and more knowledge. Knowledge is good, but at least what you have right now on your plate, consume that first. While you're running beyond that, finish your plate and then you will have more time and bandwidth, then you can upgrade your competencies and by learning new things. The few tips I want to give, and most of you will end up as a future leader to the organization. The more and more I see people at the leadership level, the more and more they are less humble. They are ruthless, they are aggressive, they are on a mission. But I think, I personally feel that if you are humble in the initial few years, and obviously if that's your DNA, it's always going to help you, it will help you succeed faster. I've seen people with a good amount of competency and an attitude problem are a perfect recipe for disaster. But if you are low on competency and if you are a humble human being, there are 10 people in the organization who will come and help you understand and solve the problem. But the moment you show your attitude, oh, I am from IIFT, I am from ABC campus, you are bound to get doomed. Don't let success get into your head. And I give this example to most of the institute where I go. I said two batsmen started their career at the same time. One was doing phenomenally well. Today nobody even knows him. The second one was not doing that great, but today everybody looks up to him. This is a story about Vinod Kambli and Sachin Tendulkar. Vinod Kambli was technically far better than Sachin Tendulkar. Look at the record when he started his career and look at where Sachin Tendulkar was when both were doing. But what happened is one could not manage the success. Success went in his head and he failed miserably. The other was able to manage the success. So when you get successful, be humble. Don't let that success get into your head, because the moment it gets into your head, you're bound to fail. Few days back, we just did Dashera and we burned Ravan. No one was more intelligent than him. But look at the destiny. He got killed by an ordinary man by the name Rama. Because the arrogance which was really took him down, otherwise there was nothing wrong with that individual. So my request to all of you is that initially, and as long as you can be, there's no fun in being arrogant and rude and ruthless to the people, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with a human being. Just because you have reached to a certain stage doesn't give you and empower you to do things which is ethically or not right. I've also seen a lot of people in an organization, they succumb to their own need, because I have expanded my need so much that I need to be in that job, and to do that job, I will do everything. I'm going to go back to one of my stories when I'm in an organization. This was one of the European investment banking. The new CEO joined the organization and he said he was not eligible for E-class, Mercedes E-class, and he went to the CHRO and he said, I want the E-class. The CHRO had a spine and he stood up and he said, you're not eligible for the E-class, you are eligible for a class below that, the version of the Mercedes. In the 3 months, he got a E-class and the new CHRO. So it's very difficult for the CHROs or the HR to stand their ground, because you have expanded your limit or your need so much. You want to be in a miserable job. After IIFT, take a 2 crore home loan. Next 20 years, you will do whatever you have to do in your job to be, just because you want to pay your EMIs. So if your needs are limited, you will be happy and you will do what you want to do. Not because you have to pay EMIs, so you will be stuck in that job. So my humble request is just stop getting influenced by the people on the Instagram or the Facebook or the WhatsApp status. Oh, somebody's bought a new car, somebody's going to an international trip, somebody's having such a wonderful life. Trust me, nobody's having a wonderful life. The life what is getting projected on the Instagram, Facebook and WhatsApp are only to make you unhappy. The faster you realize it and the faster you will be happy in your life. Look at yourself only. Because if you are happy, then rest everything doesn't really matter to you. Then you will be good in your job also. You will be good at home also. You will be good with the family also. But when you get influenced and you start looking at other people and you start getting unhappy about them, and that you bring it back to your home, to your work, to your job, it's going to impact you. Don't do that. So my request to all of you is that don't get influenced by those. There are a lot of other good set of people with whom you can get influenced. Third, never take an advice from a friend. Definitely not a career advice. Please understand one thing. He is not or she is not an expert. But the problem with all of us is that we don't go to our parents because we feel they are useless. I have also gone through the same phase and you are also going through the same phase. It's a generational problem we all face all the time. And we feel our friends are the best because they always say yes to whatever I say. Somebody say I want to be Hrithik Roshan. अरे हाँ तो दिखता है यार. तू क्यों नहीं अच्छा बोलता है? You should do it. But that's not the case. If you want a true advice, you are sitting in a Gyan ki Gangotri. There are faculties out here. Go and catch hold of one of them and say, boss, you be my mentor for the next 2 years. After I go out of the campus, I still want to be in touch with you. I want to fall back to you for my problems and solutions. Don't look up to them as a solution. Don't look at faculty, okay, they have come 60-minute classes, okay, now let's go and attend some other classes. No. They have so much of knowledge and wisdom with them. You want to go forward, you want to go to the corporate, you want to talk to some of us, more than happy to do that. But don't get this mindset of only talking to a friend, taking their advice and thinking that yeah, this is right and I should do it. You may be blessed if some friend will say on the face of it, कि boss ये useless idea तो गधा है. जाके शक्ल अपनी आईना में देखो दिखता नहीं ऋतिक रोशन. Very far and few will say that. I can tell you will never tell your friend because you don't want to offend them. You want to be good with them. So choose your mentors and your coaches very wisely because this is the important 24 months of a career. Please understand that all your life you have paid money to gain knowledge. 24 months down the line you will be paid for all the knowledge you have gained. And this is the last 2 years, which is the foundation year of a career. This 2 years is going to define that the next 30 years, are you going to be in a corporate job, what kind of role you are going to do, how you are going to survive, how you are going to manage the things. And if you don't invest your time and effort out here, then you are wasted and it's going to be very difficult once you go out of the campus. And you have people walking also. People choose both the route. Now you have to decide which one you want to go fast. Which will take you faster to your career where you want to end up. Because nobody will handhold you in the corporate world to tell you, boss, you should do this. They'll assign a task to you and you'll get measured on that. Also, one thing important, people have this, we as Gen Z and organization should treat us differently, they should treat us differently, they should treat us differently. Why? What are you bringing to the table? Lack of span of attention, not committed to the job, very fickle-minded, want to jump from A to B to C. Why will anybody will hire you and invest in you? Because just because you're born in a year and you tag as a Gen Z doesn't qualify or doesn't give an entitlement that you should be treated with a white glove in the organization. No, you'll not be. Please understand that. That's a harsh reality. You have been brought up, and my kid has been brought up in an era where everybody is getting a consolation prizes. Everybody is getting a appreciation in the classes. Teacher cannot scold them. Teacher cannot tell them what is wrong. They cannot be harsh on them because that's not allowed. When we grew up, we were only 1, 2, and 3. Everybody else is a loser. So it's a accepting the failure. The reality of the life is very different. What is here and what is outside the world is very different. When you go to the corporate, the world is very different. It's a cutthroat competition. People are out there to do the job. They're not out there to make friends. They're not out there to make a long-term. You'll not retire from the organization. I'm pretty sure about it. I didn't retire. I'm sure you will not retire from one organization. You want to jump and you want to explore various organizations. But my request to all of you is that for the first 5 years of your life, Spend as much of time in an organization to learn as much as possible. Go deeper into your subject. Because if you change job, one of the faculty started a conversation and in the 5 years he became a vice president of ICICI Bank or HDFC Bank. Please understand, the faster you grow by changing jobs, you are in the range of getting shot very quickly because you have not gotten the depth of the subject for which you have been hired. So you jump A to B to C to D, your salary has gone phenomenally high, your designation has gone phenomenally high, but your competency for which they want to use or want to hire you, you have not gone up because you have been at a superficial level. Because you kept changing job year after year. So my request to all of the students is that if possible, once you get inside a job, spend at least 5 to 7 years so that you get the depth of the subject. If you are fortunate to work in a manufacturing organization or in an organization which is not in service provider or not into bank kind of thing, go to the plant. Go to the setup from where the business is being generating revenue. You should know where the money is coming from. You should know what they are manufacturing, what goes inside the manufacturing unit, how employees and workers work out there, how does the plant work, how is the life out there. Because we all are so engrossed and we want to be only the corporate office, cubicle, AC, side cabin and all those things. That's not the life. If you don't know your business, then you will not be able to contribute to your function, whichever you join. Please understand, if you want to be a strategic partner to your business, you need to speak and understand their language. If you don't, then they will never consider you as a partner, then they will only consider you as a transactional job. Do this job, thank you very much. You will not be able to contribute any validation to the organization or to your business. So my request to you is that go to the roots where the business is coming from, what they are doing in. If you go there, you will come to know because this is what it is. This is how the manufacturing happens. And this is the effort which gets involved. People should not walk you over because you don't even know how is the windmill is being made at the plant in Mundra, or how that the port works in Mundra, or how does the thermal plant works, how does the boiler works and all those things. For that you have to go on the ground to understand. And I'm not saying that you should stay there for 2 years, 3 years, at least first 3 months, 6 months try to be there on the plant. So that you understand. Start contributing because more and more you contribute, people will accept you that you understand and you are contributing to the organization. People are very sharp. Please understand one thing. The other side people, while you are becoming intelligent thanks to the AI and you are building up a resumes, I am also becoming intelligent. While I'm on, my system is also becoming intelligent. When I get those resumes, my system says, "Well, this looks like a fake resume built by the AI." So everybody is going there, the games are going up. While you're 50-60% of your time you're spending on AI, I'm also investing 80% of time in building AI for myself. We are building a tool within Adani where we are saying that for all the leadership hiring, I want to look at the talent which is culturally fit for me. Competency, I understand everybody brings a competency on the table, but whether that person will be successful in the organization or not, whether their DNA is matching our organization or not. So we are building a tool in-house which will tell me that this individual you should watch out. And I need to watch out and I need to look at what are the competencies and what are the area I need to probe more to find out that boss whether I should hire this individual or not. Now what happens is that removes the element of doubt. I am very clear in my head because these are the 3 areas I need to probe. And if I am convinced with the answers then I want to hire, otherwise I don't want to hire. So there were earlier a lot of time I used to interview the candidate and I managed to come back and say यार यार ठीक लग रहा है मेरे को फैन से कर लेगा काम. I don't want that. If I'm hiring somebody at a VP level, I can't take a risk of कर लेगा काम. What happens if it doesn't do or she doesn't do? So that's why the AI also, everybody is using AI in the every piece of work. HR is one of the last in the functions of the most of the organization to get any of the latest technology because business thinks that first the technology should come to the business because that's where they are generating revenue. HR हाँ ठीक है हो जाएगा यार, that's fine. But that's how it is. But now yes, some of the organizations are investing, some of the organizations are still feel that they want to manage it differently. As a leader, I want you, I'm sure most of you would have heard about the story of hat, haircut and tattoo. As a leader, you need to think on those 3 strategies. If you buy a hat, you use hat for some time and you realize it's not good, you change and you buy a new hat. That's a quick fix. You get a bad haircut, you can fix it in 2 months time. But if you do a bad tattoo, Either you are stuck with it or you have to fix it. So as a leader, you need to take that call. Is this a tattoo which will have a long-term impact if we go wrong? Is this a hair cut or this is a head? So I think when you're making those kind of decisions, you need to think on those lines because what kind of impact it is going to happen on the organization. Important element, one more thing I want to talk about is that as a leader, always hire a sharp and better than you under you. Most of the leaders I've seen, they hire very mediocre people under them because they themselves are scared. Because if he outperforms or she outperforms, what will happen? But I think if you want to have a team A, you need to have a smart people under you. You can't survive with team B or team people under you. Because they will never take you anywhere. They'll only pull you down. And if you want to go up, you have to make sure that you have a team A and better than you. Because that's what will only push you up to do better. And if you have a low competency or people who are poorer than you, then obviously you know that they'll never succeed your job. So then you are also in a comfort zone, they are also in the comfort zone, and nobody is going to grow. The organization is only going to go down. Also, few more things I want to touch upon is that some of the panelists spoke about continuous learning. Important thing, and I think it's very, very necessary in today's world because the way the world is changing. How do we learn? What do we learn? I think most of the time what we do, once we go inside the corporate, you will say that corporate will teach you. No, corporate will not teach you what you want to learn. They will teach you only what they think that will add value to your job. Now in that scenario, you can't blame your manager or can't blame your company also saying that they are not teaching me. Because those skills are not relevant for them. But if it wants to be relevant for you, then I think you should also start, most of you, I don't know if you are doing SIP. How many of you do SIP? Quite a few, impressive. You should also do SDP, Systematic Development Plan. Now what is Systematic Development Plan? The next time you want to buy an iPhone 17, please don't buy an iPhone 17, put that money into a development plan. Because 14, 15, 16, 17, all the phones are same. It is like the Agrawal using double G, double A, double R thing. Nothing else. And somebody was talking about Apple. I think if Apple doesn't innovate, mark my word, next 10 years they will become Nokia. Because they are not innovating. And I'm sure if Steve Jobs would have been alive, he would have kicked the entire team out for the innovation what they're bringing out. I really can't believe, I'm a big fan of Apple, I'm using most of the phones, but I've started thinking that I need to move out of it. Because they're not innovating. And that's what happens. Because people don't think there is a need. They have enough loyal customer base who will still come and buy. And that's where the leader fails. And the stark difference between Tim Cook and Steve Jobs is that Steve was always focused on the innovation. 1,000 people can make $1 billion company, and now when we speak, I think you can count them on hand, 10 people, 20 people, 100 people can make $1 billion company. So that means that the manpower is shrinking. Innovation is coming. How do you keep yourself relevant? Most of my factory technology, something can be done by the help of automation and other things. And you guys are going to make your career now out of this campus, and you have to be relevant. So you have to be continuously learning what's new happening, and also keep inquisitive about that. I used to go to ABC and we used to hire investment bankers also. Very glorified job. Everybody wants to become like Hrithik Roshan, Zindagi na milegi dobara, bhag raha hai, daud raha hai, महंगे bag leke घूम रहा है, and all those things. Life's not that easy. At the age of 30, 35, you'll see all the investment banking have all the blood pressure, sugar, medicine on their desk. What you're good into. If you're doing a finance and you want to become an investment banker, then you walk up to a faculty and say, boss, do you think I can do that job? And if not, then let him or her tell you what you are good into and hone that skill. Because please understand that not everybody is cut out to do everything. Somebody else is doing something else, somebody else is doing something else, you take everybody's presentation and then put it into it and you go and present it, and that's the job. You go and motivate employees. I don't need employees, don't need you for motivation. They're already motivated. Don't come to me saying about the early party. I want to do party, I'll do one party. People used to think when I used to hire in way back and for the US market and UK market, I used to say you in a 3 weeks notice they were used to get fired. I said there was job security here. The same is in India now. There's no job security. Tomorrow manager says, walk up to and say, boss, you are not required. So with that, I want to park and I'm already spoken for half an hour. Wow. And I'll hand it over to you if anybody has any question. I'm more than happy to answer. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Sukhada from the batch of 27. So you mentioned about being culturally fit in the organization. So in the coming 2 years, how do we train ourselves to with that skill?
कुछ मत करो भाई, जो पढ़ाई करो बस। कितना कल्चर सीखेगा? अडानी का एक है, जिंदल का अलग है, इंडिगो का।
What you look for in a candidate? Like you told us about all the learning agility and things like decision making, right? When you look at leaders, but when you hire like people not from MBA colleges but at higher positions, like, how do you actually see leaders becoming from the actual MBA graduates? Like how they actually
The
grow?
journey is very long. Please have a seat. Even 10 years, somebody will take 20 years. It's all depends upon an individual's appetite. And that's what I keep telling my most of the time when I hire a talent is that the canvas is big. Nobody will stop you from doing things. If you go and tell people I want to do X, people will happily allow you to do that. Nobody will say, "Nee, bas itna hi kar." Most of the and I think that's what the problem is. That we need to understand that if I want to go faster, you want to run 100 meter, you want to run 400, you want to run marathon, depending upon you. No, it's your choice. And if you want to run a marathon, then you can take it easy. But the era in which you guys are going to join now, we don't even know whether we need marathon practitioner anymore. Because in lead and all those things. Those are the teenagers which is there in you. And people see that. When they come inside your corporate, you will not stay back. You will want to be in the front stage. You want to be in the center stage. Because today's time, most of the problem is that people are not motivated. Monday blue. अरे क्या Monday blue है? सारे नहीं मिलते क्या Monday के लिए? Please understand that. वो नहीं होता भाई. वो flip नहीं होता है. So hard work is the only solution. Without that कुछ नहीं होने वाला है.
And after the COVID, there was a tussle between should organization go remote and should organization go totally in office. And there are pros for going both the ways. So as a HR leader or as a business leader, what is the balance you want to create in the industry?
I'm sure your parents never had a work from home culture. Neither mine. If they had, divorce हो जाता. Second, लोग वेट हम जाके घर पे बिल्ड करते हैं कि oh I do such a fantastic job, I do work from home. It started. Only it started in the COVID time. Thanks to TCS, they made that bold and stupid decision that 70% of the population will ever come back to work. They now started coming back within 2 years. So people, the leaders were not even thought through, and they made a statement which was very juvenile. I'm sorry to say that, but then people assume that the word. I fail to understand how did they even pass out. You don't work with a team. You're sitting at home, somebody sitting in some other part, you try to call them. That's the only thing. So I think it's not, I find, personally, I'm not a great advocate of work from home. If somebody has genuine issue, they want to take it as an exception, okay with it. But I feel that if you're not working in the office, there's no synergy. Meet people in the initial few years, that's where we'll build your brand equity. If people have to think, oh, who are you, then it's like failed recall value of yours. Don't do that. And work-life balance यार मतलब ठीक है यार 9 घंटे काम करते हैं nobody I can write and give it to you nobody in this world work for 9 hours in the office. किसी का सुट्टा ब्रेक होता है किसी का कॉफी ब्रेक होता है किसी का गॉसिप ब्रेक होता है किसी का लंच ब्रेक होता है.
VP or such positions.
So we have a very robust process when we are hiring somebody certain level and above. We do an assessment which is a very exhaustive assessment and individual has to go through. It's covered all.
I'm Dipen Lavaria from the batch of 27. Sir, I was reading that India currently has 2,000 global capability centers, and seeing that there is a certain decoupling going on with the Western world where most of our output was targeted towards. So how do you see that changing, that dynamic changing, that dynamic that is changing, change the traits that you are looking for a person when you're hiring for like a certain senior or like middle management? For example, previously the output that a person was producing was a metric. So now how does that change with the advent of automation, for example, or changing social dynamic?
Yeah, it's too early for most of the organizations to learn very quickly. But certain roles which are very output driven, which are measurable, obviously those are metrics are getting measured, and then based on that, how much automation is. You have to give them a lot of use cases to tell them, okay, why don't we try this, why don't we try that, because they don't want. So most of the time people are scared of doing that because this is very critical, I can't touch this, this is very critical, I can't touch this. So the risk which doesn't have a much of an impact on the overall life cycle. One or two prototype get successful, then people can gradually move into the next and more complex role.
Thank you so much, sir.
To you.